What up, guys? Your boy Quake back with a brand new episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast, number 337. I apologize if my voice isn't 100% there. I have a very, very sore throat. I just started late last night out of nowhere. I think it's just because I've been having lack of rest and just dealing with my dad's sickness in the hospital. It's been very brutal on all of us in the family. So I apologize if my voice isn't 100% there, but yeah, let's get into the news. And of course, it seems like for at least, I don't know, I can see another 6 months going forward, probably longer because obviously the trial, but it's going to be a lot of Diddy news in the beginning of this podcast because a lot of things are happening with him. New lawsuits, new updates on what the judge thinks, all stuff like that. So I know for a while, the podcast has started off with Diddy lawsuits or some new updates to his case, and that's exactly where it's starting right now. So let's get into it. Diddy has suffered yet another setback in his sex trafficking case as a judge has rejected his claim that prosecutors leaked the footage of him assaulting Cassie in 2016. So that was one of Diddy's defense that, they put the footage out there, which is to manipulate the pool of jurors, right? By putting that video out there, it obviously sways people's opinion about who Diddy is as a person. So they can make that argument that it tainted the pool of jurors. But the judge, doesn't really agree with that. Judge Arun, I pronounce last name, Subramanian, issued a ruling on Monday, December 16th, denying the Bad Boy Boss motion for an evidentiary hearing on alleged government leaks of case information. As to the Intercontinental Hotel video, Combs, Diddy has not carried his burden to show that the government leaked it to CNN. The judge wrote, Combs argues that the most likely source of the leak is the government, but he doesn't point to any sound basis for this conclusion. So basically, not much evidence. Judge Subramanian also said that prosecutors submitted evidence he reviewed privately that presents compelling evidence that CNN's source was not, in fact, the government. He added, and importantly, nothing in CNN's presentation of the video even hinted that the source was a government agent. His ruling concluded the court reminds the public that whether the government can prove Combs' guilt in this case will turn on the evidence presented at trial, not in a trial by newspapers. Basically saying, don't worry about, the public opinion. So Diddy argued the leaks were planned and executed by the Department of Homeland Security, the same agency that carried out the raids on his homes earlier this year. The videotape was leaked to CNN for one reason alone, to mortally wound the reputation and the prospect of Sean Combs successfully defending himself against these allegations, basically tainting the jury pool. If they can provide proof and evidence of that, very good, then they got a good case to defend Diddy and say that this whole thing was set up to try to get him locked up no matter what, whether he was guilty or not, right? But yeah, that obviously tainted. Anybody that saw that video sees Diddy in a different light. At least I do. I know there were some crazy comments on Instagram. I remember seeing when Diddy posted that apology video after the Cassie video came out. There were some crazy comments on there about, oh, you can't judge, only God can judge and all that stuff. I get that, at the end of the day, only God can judge a specific individual person. I understand that. But there is no excuse for putting your hands on somebody like that. I don't care if you're drunk. I don't care what you're going through. Like I said, I don't care if the person cheats on you. I don't care if the person manipulates you. I don't care about any of that. You just leave the situation. You don't put your hands on somebody like that. And he dragged her, kicked her, punched her, all that, which is, very, very brutal. Continuing on, and this is something that I saw moving forward. Actually, right when it happened, I kind of predicted this would happen because this person, in my eyes, I knew would immediately turn against Diddy. The article, let's go over this article. Diddy's alleged drug mule, Brendan Paul, has seen his federal drug possession charges dropped. Now, what does that mean? Basically, he's cooperating with the feds. They said, hey, you help us get information of what's going on, what kind of drugs this guy got, blah, 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 and we'll drop your charges. I saw this coming from a mile away. This was just nothing that, why would he be loyal to Diddy? For what reason? This guy's just a middleman, the drug dealer. As reported by TMZ, Paul has not agreed to provide testimony against the Bad Boy Boss, but completed a pretrial program to avoid any jail time for the offense. We'll see. Paul, a former college basketball player, was arrested in March at the Miami Opa-locka Executive Airport following the raids on Diddy's homes. He was found to be in possession of cocaine and marijuana, according to police, and was employed as Diddy's assistant at the time. Paul has not yet commented on the dismissal of his charges or Diddy's own criminal case. The 25-year-old was initially named as a Mule in producer Lil Rod's sexual assault case against Diddy in February, which alleged that Paul took on the role of acquiring and distributing drugs and guns for the mogul. Yeah, his charges are dropped, so he's good to go. I'm sure he's going to, help in one way or another with getting Diddy life destroyed. Let's just say that. Or, I mean, he's not really the one destroying it. It's Diddy that did all this stuff that destroyed his own life. So, yeah, I kind of saw this coming from a mile away. It's nothing surprising to me. This is usually the way it goes. They want the head of the snake, and the rest that are surrounding, they really don't care, which I think is bullshit. I think you should get everybody involved, but I know they need more evidence. They need people to cooperate. So you got to give in order to get, right? Because for me personally, especially like the R. Kelly situation where there was clear evidence that other people were participating in helping R. Kelly do these crazy things to young females and stuff like that, and minors and stuff like that. These are individuals that saw these things happening and never spoke out. I think those people should be almost just as guilty as the person doing it, right? I could never sleep a single night if I witnessed something happening to someone and me not say anything about it. That's just, I couldn't do it. I don't care how powerful a person is. I would say something, but what I would try to do is have a case around it, record some evidence, right? Have some type of evidence around it. Whether it's audio, whether it's video, something, I would need to have some type of evidence in order to come forward, because especially if you're not a powerful person and you're going up against a powerful person, it's not going to go in your favor. Let's just say that until you have the proper evidence. So yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted on all this stuff and we'll see what happens moving forward. Jay-Z's lawyer has fired back a lot more at the whole Jay-Z lawsuit tied with Diddy about the 13-year-old minor thing, right? So let's go over the article. Jay-Z's lawyer has presented a catalog of evidence refuting a lawsuit that accuses the rap legend of raping a 13-year-old girl with Diddy following the 2000 MTV Music Video Awards. Speaking at Roc Nation's New York City headquarters on Monday, December 16th, in front of reporters, Alex Spiro poked holes in the anonymous woman's story in an attempt to prove that the alleged rape never happened. I'm going to see if I can play a clip of this. If I can't, I'll read the article. Actually, it's really long. Never mind. It's over 30 minutes long, so let's go over the article. During his presentation, Spiro showed photos of Hove at a different event to one of his accuser said he was at, and claimed that none of the properties owned by Diddy at the time matched that of the description of the lawsuit. There is no such location, he said. We don't know whether they created a location in order to try to get jurisdiction in New York so they could bring this case in New York, or that they just didn't do their homework. The attorney also highlighted several inconsistencies in the woman's timeline of events, arguing it would have been impossible for her to have been driven to the after party, raped, fled to a nearby gas station, and picked up by her father, who was 5 hours away shortly before dawn, as she claimed in her lawsuit. These are not minor inconsistencies. If you look at the time, it's not possible this could happen, Spiro said, adding that he expects the case to be dismissed. If not, it will crumble. Spiro also disputed the woman's claims that she watched the VMAs on a Jumbotron outside the Radio City Music Hall where the award show was held. Also, as there were not a Jumbotron that year. There was none. He further pointed out that she would not have been able to reach Diddy's limousine as the streets have been heavily blocked off due to Eminem's now famous VMAs performance. Spiro also downplayed Jay-Z's relationship with Diddy, who is facing a larger number of sexual assault lawsuits. Mr. Carter has nothing to do with Mr. Combs' cases or Mr. Combs, he said. They knew each other professionally for a number of years at music awards. They support each other. They go to NBA All-Star games. They support each other. That's just how professions work. There is no closer association between any of them. That's also a matter of fiction. That's all there is. He doesn't know anything about the charges or allegations against him. He has nothing to do with that case, and there's nothing more to say. As for how his client is handling lawsuits, Spiro said he's upset that somebody would be allowed to do this, would be allowed to make a mockery of the system like this. He's upset that this distracts and dissuades real victims from coming forward. He's upset that his kids and family have to deal with this, and he should be upset. In response, the woman's lawyer, Tony Busby, told Complex courts resolve factual disputes. They aren't resolved in press conferences. Yeah, this is just like a media type of play to making sure that this doesn't spread more and turn into a big wildfire. Instead, it's something to get, to try and put out this fire as quickly as possible. Now, if Jay-Z's lawyer has solid evidence and it checks out, hey, they win. There's nothing there. But if Tony Busby feels like, hey, they have better evidence in the case, then yeah. But there is some inconsistencies, which, there's going to be some. That amount of time that goes by, 24 years, that's going to be very hard to remember. Like I said, I barely remember sometimes things a year ago, 6 months ago, 3 months ago, let alone, 24 years ago. So we'll see what happens moving forward, but that's a really, great move on Jay-Z's lawyer's part. I kind of laugh at the Diddy relationship thing. I mean, any type of, they would invite each other's events. They would be like the two billionaires in hip hop that would always, talk about greatness and all this stuff and excellence. And, they would be tied to each other a lot. There's photos of them always with each other. Now that Diddy's going through all these things, it's like, okay, let me step away from this guy. When he wasn't going through these things, when he had accusations of, potentially killing Tupac or accusations of potentially killing his wife and all these conspiracy theories, you didn't really look at him sideways. You didn't really, 50, and he did an interview with ABC News Live. Lady asked him, hey, how did you kind of know ahead of time? Like, he didn't know. 50 made it clear he didn't know that all these lawsuits would come and that he was doing this type of stuff. But 50 said that I had a weird feeling when he invited me. It was just a weird way. It was just energy was off and weird. You can kind of feel that with certain people. And I've felt it in certain people in the music industry that I've met. I'm not going to say somebody's name, but this guy was literally testing me and seeing if my morals were up for money, basically. Would I throw away my morals to get more money? I'm not going to mention the event, the person, or anything, but I'll never forget this. I was with this guy. He had asked me about some deals that I had going on. And he was like, wow, that's a good amount of money. He was like, why didn't you take it? And I was like, nah, I don't do things just for money. If I feel like the deal, like my morals are going up or something, something doesn't feel right, I don't care. Money is not the number one motivating factor for me. Why I do what I do. I do it because I love to do it. When I told him that, he kind of gave me a different type of look. And then he had another thing he asked, he's just asking questions like, it was clear that he was trying to get to me and see if I was willing to compromise for money in any way. When he found out no, he did distance himself a little bit. But then that night we ended up going to this event. It was kind of like a club event, blah, blah, blah. And it was the weirdest thing. And I swear you can ask to Wheel, who's been on the podcast before. You can ask him. At the time he was working on the Diverse Mentality podcast. And I saw these two girls following me everywhere I was going in this club, right? And I was like, what the hell? What do these girls want? I don't know these girls. I have no idea who they are. Now, I'm just speculating. This could be just, these girls saw me go in with a celebrity and they want to join in as groupies or whatever. And they saw me as the one that they could probably get in with. Or there was a type of setup. And what I mean by setup is maybe he couldn't get me with money, but because most men's vices is money and women. So when he couldn't get me with money, then he threw the women at me. That's what I think looking back on it now. And in the moment, I didn't really notice that or anything. But the women were following me everywhere I was going, these two women, right? And they were trying to chat with me, talk to me. I was like, yeah, cool, blah, blah. I was just trying to, do my work or just vibe and hang out with the people I had to hang out with because I don't really do clubs. I'm not a big fan of it, right? And, yeah, as we were getting ready to leave, there's a special section for celebrities that leave. And we were with a celebrity, and I was the last one basically to go out. And the security was like, hey, are these girls with you? He looked at me and I was like, nah, I don't know them. And then he cut off the rope. There was a rope there and they kind of looked at me disappointed. And I was like, yeah, I don't know who the fuck you two are. Why are you girls following me? That might have, now looking back on it, that might have been the test of okay, he's not manipulated with money, but he's manipulated with, women. And that's, you run into things like that, especially in the industry, something weird vibes. And I never got treated the same by that guy once he realized that, hey, money and women aren't the things that, can do anything. I'll never compromise my morals for that type of stuff. I don't give a shit. That's not, I would feel bad if I do things that are against my morals, right? So, Diddy, I can feel the energy of somebody. So if Diddy had some type of weird energy, unless you're that type of person too and you rock with that type of stuff, birds of a feather flock together type of scenario, then, you could say, you don't, you agree with the energy. You're the same type of energy, so you don't really notice it. But I notice certain people, I can pick up on energy pretty well. I can notice what people's intentions are, how they're reading me, what their motives are, and they can do it as subtle as possible, but I'll pick it up eventually. It'll be a little bit later. Like the female thing, I picked up later. The money thing, I picked up right on the spot. I was like, okay, I know what he's doing here. He's throwing. But the female thing, I just kind of chalked it up as these girls were, excited and wanted to be around, our kind of crew of people that were there, and they just wanted to come along. That's what I chalked it up as at that moment. But looking back, I think it was a female type of setup type of thing where let's see if we can manipulate him with females too. Maybe that can be his vice and we can get him with that. I could be wrong. This all could be speculation and me just talking out of my, behind. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there that, certain people in the music industry that you meet, you get kind of, music industry is a very snaky industry, unfortunately. There are genuinely good people that I've met, but about 80% is just, I want nothing to do with them. I've had conversations with some powerful people sometimes, and I'm just like, you can just tell, you can just feel the energy. These people are not good people. But yeah, that's just kind of the story I wanted to share with you guys. But yeah, if Jay-Z never picked up on that, then I don't know, maybe he's that type of a person himself. I'm just throwing that out there. Not saying that Diddy did any of these things Jay-Z did any of these things that Diddy did, but usually if you're on the other moral side of things, you can pick that up, unless you're just really naive and very green to the situation, meaning new to the situation. But yeah, we'll see what happens moving forward. It's interesting nonetheless. 50 Cent has been on a press kind of promo run promoting his new movie, Den of Thieves 2, which he executive produces. He was in the first one, but this one he's executive producing. The Las Vegas residency, 50 Cent Action channel on Roku. So he's been doing his press runs. And he weighed in on something that I've always said and agreed with, so I just wanted to talk about it. 50 Cent has weighed in on today's mainstream female rappers, suggesting there's a lack of balance when it comes to substance versus sex appeal. During an interview with comedian and radio personality Michael Perry, the unit boss was asked about his favorite woman MCs and didn't hesitate to speak his mind about hip-hop's current crop of leading ladies. Let's see what he has to say.
And what about the female rappers?
The female rappers, I just want somebody that is not trying to sell some box.
You ain't lying.
One more. I just need one. I just need one. I think this might be damaging female culture.
What do you think about sexy?
Seriously.
No, serious. Let's talk about it. Because what do you think about Sexy Red's new lip gloss line called Gonorrhea? Nut. I mean, it's wild out here.
She wants to convince them to put gonorrhea on it.
I mean, it's wild out here.
No. Look at what you just said, bro.
Gonorrhea and Ultimas.
I got that new gonorrhea on my mouth.
Yeah, that's the new wave.
You'll see how this
Can you believe we're here now when it comes to music? Like, this is...
Yikes. Mike, what are you supposed to say? For male artists, look, I was doing Candy Shop.
Right. Yeah. 21 questions.
Like metaphors for sexual experiences. They are doing flat out saying the experience in the music now. And then,
I agree. I've said this on the podcast, but I mean, you could put some of the blame on men too, because there are men that just talk about the same stuff over and over again. I mean, there's only so much subject matter that you can do. But right now, I feel like female-wise, the female rappers, the majority of them are just talking about sex and selling sex, and that's it. That's why I kind of like Glorilla a little bit. She had like moments where she wasn't doing that, where it was like more about the rapping. But then even she has records that's just like more about sex. I'm tired of hearing it. There was a female rapper by the name of Tink at one point that was set to blow up that Timbaland was pushing. I wish she would have blown up. Young M.A. is another female rapper that I feel like still is super underrated. She's got records that she's freestyle over that I love. So there are female rappers out there willing to rap and deliver. But right now it's just like 50 was talking about Sexy Red delivering lipstick with gonorrhea on it. Like, why are we doing this? Like, at what point in society can we say, hey, you know what, this is not it, let's just not support this? And then there's like star power, where the only star power, like, no disrespect to Ice Spice, but the only thing that she was getting a lot of traction for was shaking her ass. She lost a lot of weight. People just stopped rocking with her music. She wasn't really that talented. She had one record that was blowing up on TikTok, a certain part of a song, Munch or some shit like that. I don't remember what it was, but in today's world, it's really hard to build a star. I think we've or a superstar. A star, yeah, you can build, but a superstar in today's world, very, very hard to do. I think we stopped once 2010s, those artists came, like Drake, Weeknd, J. Cole, Wale, whoever at the time was blown up. That was like the last era where you could build a real superstar. Now, too much attention is divided into too many platforms and too many people to where it's very hard to build a superstar, to where the artist is like dominating and like Sabrina Carpenter right now, right? I don't listen to her music. I don't really know much about her. She's dominating right now, but will she last? Like, I remember that Olivia Rodrigo girl. I'm talking like pop world that I don't really know that well, but she was popping and she had records that were going crazy, and I haven't heard of her at all yet in a long time. And I was also watching a bunch of Michael Jackson old videos, interviews that he did. That guy was like next. There's nobody ever, because the reason why I went back to the Michael Jackson stuff is I was listening to a lot of Drake compare himself to Mike Jack, and I was like, Drake, as big as Drake is, nah, man, Michael Jackson was just like, there's nobody that even came close. There's the messengers of God, Jesus, Muhammad, all these messengers of God, right, that are probably the most popular. And then right under that is Michael Jackson. That's really it. And then everybody else falls under that. I've had this debate with people about who's the most famous person in the world that's not, a messenger of God like Jesus and Muhammad, right? And people have argued Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, Muhammad Ali, Mother Teresa, I guess. I don't know. People that, Gandhi, I don't know, right? A lot of different, but Michael Jackson to me, I think takes the cake. I mean, like, the guy sold on one album over 100 million copies. Basically, everybody in America at that time had that album. Every single person. I don't know what the U.S. population in America was in when did it come out? In 1984 or some shit like that. I don't remember what the U.S. population was, right? But I think everybody in America had at least a copy of that, and then worldwide. The problem is, at the time when Michael released his album, they weren't really tracking album sales like that. So there's a lot of speculation. It's either 60. I know they said anywhere from 65 million to anywhere upwards to 200 million copies off one album. So in between that, they don't know the exact numbers. I wish we did know the exact numbers, but you'll never know because you can't track. It's just impossible now after all this time's passed and stuff. But I don't know why I go on these rants. Back to basically, female rappers. Get back to some real shit. I don't really care about the ass shaking. There's some female rappers that I rock with, like Glorilla, that deliver some really dope music here and there. But other than that, I'm not really a big fan of female rappers. Even a lot of new male rappers, to be honest with you. A lot of this new music I've been not really consuming and enjoying and been like, oh my God, like, I just don't. I don't know, a lot of new artists. I actually cannot remember, besides, I want to say Boss Man D-Lo, but how long am I going to rock with him musically? It's going to be a little while, right? He's not going to be, or it's going to be very short-lived. Sorry, I said be a little while, but it's going to be very short-lived. I don't think I'm going to be rocking with his music because he has certain flows, and, eventually that style kind of just dies out. No, I could be wrong. He could switch up and become an even bigger superstar or whatever. But Boss Man D-Lo is probably one of the new artists that I really rock with. I haven't really, and that's where I kind of have this confliction of, do I still love hip-hop like that? And I've been having this confliction for a year now, maybe. And me, if I don't love something, I will get out of it, and I don't want to be in a field where I'm not really in love with everything that's going on. Do I love talking about it? Yes, but I find myself always talking about, 90s and 2000s artists and even 2010s. But these newer artists, I don't really find myself talking a lot about them. I really don't care, to be honest with you. People throw, hey, if you listen to this, you don't know this guy. To be honest with you, I might end up becoming one of those outdated old people that just don't rock with a lot of new artists are ass cheeks. Let's just put it at that. That's not to say that I'm not open to listening to new artists, but majority of them suck. Like majority, 80% of them are just, and there's so much flooded with music that it's hard to keep track, of what to listen to. But yeah, I went on a whole rampage here. But yeah, female artists, step it up. Stop with just the sexual talk, man. And even male artists, I don't want to hear you, like Lil Wayne at one point was just talking about pussy 24/7. It's like, I don't want to hear that shit from you anymore, man. Switch it up. So male artists do that too, but female seems like it's a more dominated with a lot more females doing it. But yeah, hopefully we get some new fresh things like Young M.A. again. Hopefully she makes a comeback. I would love to see that. I think she's super talented. She's one of the female rappers that I really, really love. But yeah, that's interesting take, and I'm glad somebody else said it because it seems like other people aren't really saying it. This is an interesting update with Lil Durk's murder for hire case. And Lil Durk's engineer comes in clutch. And I'm telling you, clutch, because this is crazy. So let's go with the article. Lil Durk is facing serious murder for hire charges involving the killing of Quano's cousin, Savay, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Savay Robinson. One bit of the prosecution's case just met a serious challenger from engineer and producer Just Vibes. The engineer, real name Justin Gibson, has been working with Durk since 2021 and describes himself as Chicago's artist's main sound engineer, a claim that photo evidence bears out. Gibson submitted an affidavit and supporting screenshots to the court on Sunday, December 15th, that appeared to poke holes in the government's theory that Durk sought to commercialize Robinson's death by rapping about it. This is interesting. Prosecutors said that the lyrics on Durk's track with Babyface Ray, Wonderful Wayne, and Jackie Boy reference audio from a news clip taken shortly after Robinson's murder, where Quano screamed "No, no" after seeing Robinson's dead body. They pointed specifically to the lyrics, "Look on the news and see your son, you screaming, no, no." However, Gibson says in his affidavit, viewed by Hip Hop DX, that he watched Durk write his verse in the studio and recorded the rapper's verse during a session on January 25th, 2022, almost 7 months before Robinson was killed. Basically saying he wrote about this way before, and he has the verse recorded and everything. He has proof of this. Shout out to this engineer, because this might save whatever evidence they're trying to use lyrics against him, right? That's a shout out to him for stepping up and actually delivering this. Gibson attached screenshots showing that he had saved a rough draft of the track originally titled Too Toxic on the date he described. Durk is being connected to more crimes than just Robinson's killing. However, he was recently linked to the killing of the alleged Chicago gang leader. Yeah, we talked about that D thing. But interesting, man. Interesting kind of, not turn of events, but at least evidence being presented. Shout out to his engineer, man. That's somebody Durk should look out for and, give his proper respect to, because he's real for doing that. That takes a lot of courage, one, and two, helps Durk a lot with having that footage. Sometimes it's important to record things, man, because you never know when you're going to need it for certain things like this. But yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted. I don't know if this is going to make a huge difference, but it's at least worth an effort, right? Lil Wayne has officially spoke on the whole Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl situation, despite, the video that he released on Instagram talking about being disappointed about not getting it. Now he actually talks about Kendrick Lamar getting it and says he had a conversation with him. So let's go over the article. Lil Wayne has revealed that he and Kendrick Lamar have spoken following the drama surrounding next year's Super Bowl halftime show. Earlier this year, Kendrick was announced as the headliner of the big game, which takes place on February 9th in Wayne's hometown of New Orleans. Weezy made his disappointment at the snub public, which K-Dot addressed on his latest album, GNX, promoting the Young Money legend to seemingly hit out as a Mona Lisa collaborator on social media. Now, during an interview with Skip Bayless, Wayne has confirmed that he and Kendrick have spoken and there's no bad blood between them. So let's play this clip.
But you guys are cool. You have talked.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right.
I told him you got to kill it. That's what I told him. I told him you got to smash it.
Well, he will smash it. I'm sure
yes,
he will.
Of course he will.
So, is there any way last second that you would be asked to make a little appearance with him on stage?
I'm not going to even be in the country.
Okay, all right. Okay, I appreciate that. I actually love that and endorse that.
So Skip Bayless is he's kind of out of touch when it comes to like hip hop, which is interesting when he asks these questions. But it's great that Lil Wayne had a conversation with Kendrick Lamar behind the scenes, because he's been getting criticized, on social media when he was talking about Bill Belichick, NFL, and he was talking about something about people not respecting him and giving him his congratulations. The social media attacked him and said, well, you didn't do the same thing to Kendrick. You criticized him, didn't congratulate him. Well, this is where privacy and real life are two totally different things. What happens in private and what happens outside in the public, we don't know. We didn't, unless Lil Wayne could have never said this ever. And we would have probably never known that Lil Wayne and Kendrick spoke to each other. Because Kendrick doesn't do interviews, doesn't talk about these situations. So if Skip Bayless never asked this, we probably would have never known that a conversation behind the scenes. And that's why sometimes speaking out in public and criticizing somebody, you don't know what happened behind the scenes. And sometimes you shouldn't know. It's not your business, right? Not everything that Lil Wayne and Kendrick do should be in the public eye. But it's tough, when you get online and people criticize you, it's like it can sometimes trick your mind into thinking that things are worse than what they are. The media can switch things and make things a lot worse than what it actually is. But it's good that the two main people, Kendrick and Lil Wayne, had this conversation to kind of iron things out, right? But yeah, he said he's not going to be at the show. He's not going to be a surprise guest. He's going to be overseas, or he's going to be out the country. So he made it very clear that he's not going to be the surprise performance guest. I think it's going to be Kendrick and just Kendrick. I don't see anybody coming out and, being a surprise guest. Maybe Snoop and Dre, because they did the Missionary album. I doubt it, though. I don't think anybody's going to come out as a surprise guest. But shout out to them for having the conversation. Lil Wayne never heard the GNX track. At least that's what he says. I don't know if I believe him. It's really hard not to hear that when the lyrics came out. It was all over the internet. I'm sure a friend texted him and sent him the song. I think he just says that just so, it makes it seem like he doesn't care, but I'm sure he does. Not to say that he has issues with Kendrick or anything like that. But Skip should have continued reading on what those lyrics were. Because, he said, irony, my hard work let Lil Wayne down. But then he says, whatever, though. Call me crazy, everybody questionable. Meaning, like, he can get it, too, if he really wants to. That's how I took those bars. Like, hey, everybody's questionable, meaning I don't know these people's true intentions and how they feel about things. They can speak one way about me or talk to me one way, but they might feel a different way, But overall, interesting, man. I'm glad that at least Lil Wayne kind of cleared the air on that. Really cool of him to do that. This is very disappointing. I think very stupid rule in my eyes about the Grammys. And this is another reason for me to hate the Grammys even more. Let's go over the article. J-Kwon's 2 Grammy nominations, both attached to Shaboozey's smash hit, a bar song, Tipsy, have been taken away. And the St. Louis rapper will now just receive a certificate if the song wins. Caught by Billboard over the weekend, the change was actually made last Thursday, December 12th. Shaboozey's track is nominated for both Song of the Year and Best Country Song. J-Kwon's 2004 hit Tipsy is interpolated in Shaboozey's record-setting song. When noms were first announced, the 3 writers of J-Kwon's hit Tipsy, including J-Kwon himself, were listed as nominees alongside Shaboozey and bar song producers and co-writers Niveen Starcy and Sean Cook. However, last week, the Grammys removed the Tipsy writers from the list of nominees. This is because the Grammys have a rule that the publisher and songwriters of sampled or interpolated material are only eligible for certificates, not award. Shaboozey has had a number of recent triumphs in addition to Grammy nominations. Last minute, he got to hang with it, whatever. That's a dumb rule. If somebody samples, interpolates my song, my hit from a while ago, I should be credited with an award just like that person, because had they not interpolated my song, this song would have never existed. Another reason why I hate the Grammys, I think if they win, J-Kwon definitely deserves a Grammy for that. That's a song that at 2004 was one of the biggest songs, period. And he deserves his respect for that. And just getting a certificate versus actual award is a very, very, very stupid rule. But welcome to the Grammys. Nothing makes sense in who wins. I'm sure somehow Beyonce is going to win an award and Jay-Z is going to win an award. Somehow, I don't know where these two just end up winning awards. That's the Grammys for you. Nothing makes sense, and everything's twisted and turned and biased towards one side or the other of things. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that, and just another reason why the Grammys is one of the dumbest places when it comes to winning. I don't know why people have this high grandiose, oh, they got a Grammy, and they talk about who gives a shit. Award shows doesn't justify what music is, at least to me. I could care less. There are albums that didn't sell shit that I love. There are albums that sold millions of copies that I love. There are albums that didn't win Grammys, that won Grammys that I love. Whatever. I don't really look at the accolades when it comes to, it's good for debate situations, right? You want to talk about, who has number one hits, but at the end of the day, is the music good? That's obviously an opinion at the end of the day, and nobody can really tell another person that the music is trash, because if they like it, that's their opinion, right? It's an opinionated thing. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully they overturn this. I doubt they will, but we'll see what happens moving forward. Speaking of Michael Jackson earlier, I wanted to talk about this because this is really cool. And this happened with Dr. Dre and something that he had in a storage unit. It's very interesting. So according to the Hollywood Reporter, Former California Highway Patrol officer Greg Musgrove found multiple DAT tapes featuring unreleased Michael Jackson songs in a storage unit he recently bought in Van Nuys, California. The unit previously belonged to music producer Brian Lauren, who Musgrove says he's unable to locate. The tapes were recorded from 1989 to 1991 and contained 12 songs in total. One of them, called Truth on Youth, was labeled a duet rap with LL Cool J. So LL Cool J did talk about making music with Michael Jackson, but ultimately it never came out because it didn't meet the standard of Michael Jackson. Obviously, Michael Jackson has a standard that's, probably one of the highest ever, if not the highest ever, because of, what he's done in his career. And that's why he's gotten so high up in his career, because of that insane standard. Continuing on, though, Musgrove plans to auction the tapes off, but the songs will not be released and likely not be heard by many others, as MJ's estate has made it clear they own the copyright. This is what the estate says. The estate of Michael Jackson was presented with DAT copies, not master recordings of Michael's music, and we confirmed that the actual master recordings were in fact already located in the estate's vaults, a rep for the estate told THR. It should be clear to all that ownership and rights of exploitation to the recordings remain vested in MJJP Records, and that nothing commercial or otherwise can be done with the DAT copies, meaning don't release this shit or else you're going to have legal ramifications. Back in October, LL Cool J was asked about the songs he made with Michael Jackson and got candid about why the songs will never see the light of day. LL explained they weren't good enough. We definitely made songs together. We made music together. One of them leaked a while ago. It was called Serious Effect. That was one, but there was some other stuff and it just didn't get there. Sometimes the art doesn't get there. It just doesn't get there. Being able to hang out with Mike and work with Mike and be in the studio with him, it was dope. Yeah. This happened also with a guy, and I was actually talking to this guy at one point. He ended up buying the storage unit of, it wasn't Dr. Dre, but it was one of the engineers. I forget his name, man. Whatever. I forgot. I don't remember. Yeah, anyways, he ended up buying this storage unit, ended up with this huge vault of Dr. Dre music, Eminem music, 50 Cent music. This is 50 Cent original recordings. The documentary Higher, there's an original 50 version of Higher, where it's him recording it. Tony Yayo's So Seductive, it's 50 rapping the whole So Seductive. A lot of recordings of Dre from studio sessions, the Detox, Eminem recordings, a little bit of Eminem recordings. And I ended up getting in conversation with him about, what is he planning on doing with this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And he wanted $100,000 for all this stuff. And I was like, I'm not paying $100,000. Like, the most I'll pay at the time, what I can afford, is probably like $5,000. I'm not paying $100,000 for that stuff. I can't even release it. I can't profit off it. I can't do nothing with it. I can just listen to it and enjoy it. Now, if I was a multi-millionaire and $100,000 was nothing to me, I would pay that immediately. I'd pay that for a split second, because to me, that would be amazing. That's like a holy grail of music, right? But this guy is definitely going to be able to make a pretty penny off unreleased Michael Jackson songs from 1989 to 1991. Woo, 12 songs in total, too. There's going to be an insane Michael Jackson fan that wants that. They're probably going to pay a pretty penny for that. Maybe $1 million, maybe $2 million, maybe $5 million. Who knows what it'd be worth. But I'm sure the Dr. Dre stuff, too, could go for a lot. You have to find the right person that's willing to pay, that has the money, the resources, that's willing to pay that amount. But yeah, crazy, man. Sometimes these storage units, if you go and buy one, you probably find some crazy stuff, memorabilia that nobody ever knows. And a lot of this stuff is legendary stuff. So it was a cool story I just wanted to talk about. Really, really cool. Let's get into the Billboard Hot 100. And the first 5 songs are all Merry Christmas, like holiday Christmas songs. Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You, number 1. Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree, number 2. Jingle Bell Rock, number 3. Last Christmas, number 4. And Holly Jolly Christmas, number 5. So going down, Die With a Smile, Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars, number 6. Luther, Kendrick Lamar and SZA, number 7. TV Off, Kendrick Lamar and Lefty Gunplay, number 8. A Bar Song, Tipsy Shaboozey, number 9. Squabble Up, Kendrick Lamar, number 10. Sticky, Tyler the Creator, number 36. Not Like Us, Kendrick Lamar, number 37. What You Know About Me, Glorilla's Sexy Red, number 41. A lot of Christmas stuff just taking over the charts. So a lot of songs getting pushed out. Hey Now, Kendrick Lamar, number 52. Whacked Out Murals, Kendrick Lamar, number 54. Dodger Blue, Kendrick Lamar, number 57. Like Him, Tyler the Creator, number 58. Empty Out Your Pockets, Juice WRLD, number 59. Peekaboo, Kendrick Lamar, number 60. Going down the list, Reincarnated, Kendrick Lamar, number 68. Heart Part 6, Kendrick Lamar, number 72. Man at the Garden, Kendrick Lamar, number 74. Gloria, Kendrick Lamar and SZA, number 76. Gang Baby, NLE Choppa, number 82. Residuals, Chris Brown, number 84. Saint Chroma, Tyler the Creator, number 95. GNX, the title track, Kendrick Lamar, number 96. Rod Wave 25, number 97. That's interesting. But yeah, a lot. The charts have been just dominated with the Christmas songs because Christmas is really coming up. So makes sense. But yeah, that's it for today's episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast. As always, appreciate you guys so much. I want to be very, very honest with you guys. If the podcast has delays, it's because my dad's extremely sick. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys. I don't know what to expect. I don't know if he's gonna pass away. I'm not trying to put that in the air, but there's so much going on that if that ends up happening, God forbid, I will be taking a hiatus from the podcast. I will not be recording because there's going to be too much going on, and I don't want to, I won't even be here. I'll have to travel overseas because, just a lot of things will be going on. I don't want to really discuss. But yeah, so if there ever is, you guys don't expect episodes coming out, or there's no episodes coming out, just know that that's the reason why. It's something very serious. It's not that I don't want to do it. It's not none of that stuff. It's just life happens, right? There's only so much I can do and put out there. I've seen all you guys' supports in the comments. It means the world to me, guys. I'm really, really thankful I have the support from you guys that I do. It helps me, kind of cope with everything that's going on because I get to get my mind off it and just, talk about things that I love and get your guys' reaction on things too. So I really appreciate it. Of course, Spotify, Deezer, Pocket Cast, YouTube, all that. Have an amazing night, day, whenever you're listening to this, and peace.